In this lecture, you are going to learn how to create a chart like this, where the maximum value is highlighted dynamically. This is kind of a warm-up exercise, but still you will learn a lot about Excel. Now let's get into it. Let's click on cell A1 to make sure that it is the selected cell. Let's create a simple datasheet where we have the days of the week in column A and the corresponding sales data in column B. I type in the abbreviation of Monday. I click on cell A1 again. I grab the bottom right corner of this cell by clicking and holding the left mouse button and pull all the way down to cell A7. And I release the mouse button. This autofill option may not work in older versions of Excel. If you don't get this result, please type in the days quickly. I click on cell B2 and type in values for each day. I enter the value, hit enter, and enter the next one. Now let's create a header for these data. I'll click on row 1 on the side to select the entire row. We could right-click to call the context menu and choose Insert from here, but let's use the shortcut key instead. Often there is a key combination on the keyboard as an alternative to call certain actions in Excel. Using shortcut keys can increase your productivity, so I try to teach you as many as possible. And you can decide if it's worth to remember. Now if you have a selected row, or it can be a column as well, you can hit Ctrl+ to insert a new one. I click on cell B1 and enter the column header. I hit the Tab key to finish the data entry. Now if you double click on this column separator, the column width will be set automatically. Let's click on this B header to select the entire column. I'm going to make some formatting on this one. On the Home ribbon, in the Alignment group, I click on this Center button. I would also like to see the currency sign. Now you could click on this Accounting Number Format button, but I'd rather choose from this drop-down list the currency. This button we can decrease the number of decimals. Great. Now I click on cell B1. Let's make this header text bold. You can either click on this button, or as you can see the shortcut key in the bubble, you can hit Ctrl+B. Now let's select column A and make the entire column bold by a single click. Good. Very basic formatting. You will do this all the time. Now let's click on one of the cells with the data. We are going to insert a chart. If you are in a data range, Excel will realize this and make a bunch of settings automatically, so you don't need to do them manually. Now let's go to Insert and click on this Recommended Charts button. This feature was introduced in version 2013. If you don't have that, don't worry. We won't use this. I just want to show you as an option for creating a new chart. Excel looks at your data and offers different chart types. You can click on them to see on the right how a certain one looks with your data. But I just hit cancel now. Let's insert a simple 2D bar chart from here. As you can see, Excel has automatically identified data and labels and put them on the right places on the chart. This is great. However, it doesn't seem kind of impressive, right? You can see charts like this all the time. It's just boring. It doesn't get the viewer's attention. With some extra effort, we can make it attractive. Let's see how to do that. Let me drag and drop the chart somewhere here. It's important to grab its frame when you want to move the whole chart. That's because a chart has plenty of elements inside and it's easy to click on them. If you mess up something, hit the Escape key on your keyboard to quit from the action. and if it's necessary, hit Ctrl Z to undo your last action. Now notice that we got a new menu item, Design. This is because we have the chart selected. Here you can see chart styles. Let's click on this button to expand the list. If I hover over the items, I can see how my chart looks in a certain style. I'd like to set this dark one, so let's click on it. If you have an earlier version of Excel, you may not find this specific style. Don't worry, I'll show you in a minute how to create one like this from scratch. This chart is definitely an improvement comparing to the default. It has a gradient background, the bars have gradients as well, plus they have shadows around. The layout has enough contrast to make it nice, but many people will probably find this feature in Excel, so we need to do some more to stand out. Let's click on this Change Colors button. Here you can choose from different color palettes to customize your chart further. Let's choose this monochromatic palette. Very good. Now let me show you step by step how you can create a chart layout like this. Even if you have a newer version of Excel, it's good to know how you can customize the tiny details of your chart to make it unique. So let's click inside the dataset and create a standard bar chart again. Let's start with the background. Make sure that only the outer frame of the chart is selected. Right-click on the chart somewhere here and choose Format Chart Area. By clicking on other location of the chart, you may see a different menu item here. Find the one that starts with Format. A Settings panel pops up on the right. This design was introduced in version 2013. In earlier version, a dialog window pops up, but the structure should be the same. I hope you find the option that we will use. Now make sure that the Paint Bucket button is selected and Chart option is shown above. If it's not, choose Chart Area from the drop-down. Expand the fill group and choose the Gradient Fill option. From the Preset Gradients drop-down, choose this gray bottom spotlight. Now the type shows radial. Let's click on this middle stop. For the sake of simplicity, we delete this one. So click on this Remove Gradient Stop button. Now this first stop defines the color of this bottom center area. Let's click on this color drop-down and from the second dart column, choose this 35% gray. Now let's click on the second stop and choose this 15% gray. Now let's click on the chart title element. This is a textual element, so let's go to Home. We will do the formatting here. From the font color drop-down, let's choose this 5% light gray. Let's take the font size bigger. Now I right-click over the title and choose Font Item. On the Character Spacing tab, I set the Expanded. Hit OK. Now we have some space between the letters. And let's make the title bold. Now click on the vertical axis to select it. Let's set its color to this 15% light gray. Let's select the horizontal axis element. We can now just simply click on this button because its color will be the same as the vertical one. I would also like to change the color of this horizontal axis line, which I can do here. Let's set it to this 35% gray. I click off the chart to see how it looks. Good. We also need to change the grid line color. Let's select them by clicking one of them. Make sure that you see these nodes here. Let's set it to this 35% gray tone. Now click on one of the data bars only once, so you see these selection nodes. If you click again, you will select only this single bar. We don't want that, because in this case we will change the property of this one specific bar. We want to format the whole series. So I click outside and click on one of the bars again. Let's go to Fill Options. Click on Gradient Fill. Remember, the first gradient stub will define the color of the bottom. I choose this 50% gray. I click on the other stub, which refers to the top, and set this 25% gray. Now click on this Effects button. Expand Shadow item, and from the presets, let's choose this outer center one. Now we have a slight shadow around the bars. We are almost done. We just need to take the bars wider. Click on one of the bars, go to Series Options, and set the gap width slider to 100%. Excellent. We have a pretty similar look than the other one. Now let me close this panel and see how we can highlight one of the bars with a nice color. When you work with data in Excel, it's a good practice to format your dataset as an Excel table. It has many benefits and makes things simpler. So let's click inside our dataset and go to Insert. Here you can see this table button. You can also see its shortcut key, Ctrl-D. Let's click on this table button. The Create Table dialog pops up. Excel automatically sets the range for the table. It's from cell A1 to B8. Don't worry about these dollar signs in the formula for now. We'll talk about it later. This checkbox shows that our table has header, which is this cell. Let's hit OK. Now before we look into this new table format, notice that our first chart has become wider. That's because our column B width has changed. It seems that our chart is linked somehow to our table. I click on this Undo button at the top so you can see the change. So with this undo action, I went one step back to the state before the Excel table creation. Let's select our first chart clicking on its frame. Right-click somewhere here, and from the context menu choose Format Chart Area. Click on the Size and Properties button. Under the Properties group, you can see the default setting, Move and Size with Cells. As this chart overlapped column B, its width was affected by the width change of the column. We don't want this, so let's click on this Don't option. Now I click again on our dataset, go to Insert, click on Table, and hit OK. Good. Now our chart has not been affected. I click on Undo and Redo to check that. Let's set this option quickly for the other chart too. So we have this new table layout. Let's add a header for the days. I grab this column separator to take column B wider. I don't like this default blue table layout. Let's change that. Make sure that the selected cell is inside the table so you can see the design menu item. Let's go there. Let's open this table styles dropdown. I click on this one. Good. Now I'd like to color the highest bar on the chart in a way that whenever the data change in the table, the color formatting automatically follows that on the chart. So how can we do that? Currently, we have one data series shown in column B. We need the second one, so-called ghost data series, in column C. Let me show you what I mean. Currently, Thursday is the top day of the week. If I enter 400 in this cell C5, see what happens. First, our table has been extended with one extra column automatically. Second, we got a second bar on the chart with a different color. If we didn't format our dataset as an Excel table, this wouldn't happen. We could also add extra rows to our table that Excel would realize. So this is one of the benefits that the Excel table format offers. Let me close this format shape panel so we can focus on our chart. Also, let's click on the second chart, hit Alt F10 to call the selection pane. Here you can see your objects on this worksheet. Let's click on this eye icon to hide this second chart, and I close this selection pane. Good. Let's set a bright color for this second bar. Left mouse click on it only once, right mouse click on it, and from the field drop-down choose more field colors. We get the colors dialog. There are two tabs here. You can set your color in different ways. On the standard tab, I click on this light green one. You can pick any color you like. Hit OK. We are getting somewhere. Let me rename this column header. I take this column wider. I select it and hit center align. We don't care about the number format for this column. Now, would it be possible to shift this green bar right over the gray one? Yes, it would. Select the green bar, right click on it. You could select Format Data Point menu item, but it's just faster to double click on the green bar to call the Format Data Point panel. Make sure that you are on the Series Options tab. We need this Series Overlap slider to achieve our goal. Watch what happens as I'm dragging it to the right. This is exactly what we need. On 100%, the green bar hides the gray one. Very good. So we should achieve somehow that we show value in column C only in that row where the value on the left in column B is the maximum. It's time to use some simple Excel functions to solve this. But what is an Excel function? Think of an Excel function as a black box. It receives some input data, does a calculation or transformation on the data, and it returns a result. We don't need to know how the function does its job. We just need to know the name of the function so we can call it, and the input parameter structure it accepts. So each Excel function has a unique name. There are hundreds of them in Excel, nobody knows all of them. You will probably use the 10-20 most popular ones. We will go through them in a lecture later. In this case, we need a function that can return the maximum value from column B. Let me delete the value from this cell. By the way, you can use the arrow keys on your keyboard to navigate between cells, so you don't necessarily need the mouse. I use the mouse in navigation so you can follow along easily. Anyway, to make a calculation in a cell, we need to enter a formula. All formula in Excel starts with an equal sign. So the cell C2 is selected and I start typing in this formula bar here. We could also type in this formula in the cell directly, but you will see it better this way. So I start with an equal sign and I type in the function name that will perform the operation. It will be the max function. As you type, Excel shows the matching functions below. You can also see in the bubble what the selected function does. Now let's type in an opening parenthesis. The hint bubble starts to show the parameters of this max function. Now in this case, this number 1 parameter doesn't say too much, but in many cases this hint bubble is useful. I select a range for the max function like this. I click and hold on cell B2, drag the mouse cursor to cell B8 and release. Excel puts this table column reference into our formula. A table reference like this makes your formula dynamic. This is another reason to use Excel table. You can add new rows to your table and you don't need to update your formula. I type in the closing parentheses and hit enter. The formula returns the correct max value, the 400. This is good. If I click on other cells in column C, you can see that Excel has automatically put our formula in each cell. This is another useful feature of the Excel table. So we don't need to copy the formula into each cell. Now let's go back to cell C2. Let me drag this bottom frame of the formula bar to make it bigger. You can also click on this button to expand and collapse it. Now I will break down our formula into separate rows. You can enter line breaks in the formula by hitting Alt-Enter. So I push this max function here. We are going to use another function to show this max value only in the right cell. Let's use a conditional statement. The function name will be if. You can see its description in the bubble. I type in the opening parentheses. Now the first parameter is a logical test. If it's true, the function will return the second parameter, otherwise it will return the third one. Let's put together our logical test here. So the condition will look like this. If the max function result is equal to cell B2 value, I click on it and Excel puts the reference into the formula. Then I enter a comma to separate the next parameter. I hit Alt-Enter for the line break. So if the above condition is true, then give back cell B2 value. So I copy this cell reference to the clipboard with Ctrl-C. Don't worry about the syntax of it for now. I click in the next line and hit Ctrl-V to paste it. I enter another comma for the next parameter. Hit Alt-Enter for a line break. And let's define what value to return in case the logical test result is false. We want a blank cell, so I type in 2 double quotation marks. That marks an empty text value. Let's not forget the closing parentheses and hit enter. And it's working. Notice that we have the same formula in each row. Now let's test it. Let me enter 420 for Wednesday. Column C is updating and the chart is showing the new data. Perfect. Let me get rid of the line breaks in the formula. I use them for demonstration purposes only. Let me set back the formula bar. Now if we have two equal maximum values, the chart will look like this, which is correct. So using Excel table, we can have this formula that is very general, it has a clean syntax, and it does what we expect. Use Excel table wherever it's possible. Now let me show you a trick that you can use to analyze a formula. It's useful when you write your own or when you need to look into other people's work. I select this part of the formula in the formula bar, so it's basically the max function. I hit F9 on the keyboard. Excel calculates the selected part. The result of the max function is 420. Now let me select the other part of the logical test or condition, hit F9, and it shows the value of cell B5. Now let's select this logical test, hit F9 again, it returns true. If you use this feature, make sure that you hit Escape on the keyboard when you're finished. Hitting Enter would overwrite your formula with this value, which is something that you probably don't want. So I hit Escape. Now let me show you another function that you can use in testing. I'd like to have random numbers in column B so we can test the chart behavior quicker than entering values manually. So I click on cell B2, select the value and overwrite it with the equal sign so I start a formula. Now the function that returns a random number is randbetween. I start typing and as soon as Excel managed to narrow down the search, it's there. At this point I can hit the tab key and the function gets into the formula along with the opening parentheses. Now the randbetween function expects two parameters. We need to define the range of the random number basically. So I enter 100 for the first parameter, hit comma, and 500 for the second one. At this point, you can hit tab without the closing parentheses and Excel will complete the formula. Now if I check cell B3, it will still show constant value, not the new formula. Actually, we need a clean column in the table to get the autofill feature work. So let me select the new formula in cell B2, right click on it, hit copy, select this range, hit delete, click on cell B2, click in the formula bar, right click and hit paste. Now if I hit enter, the formula gets into all the other cells. Great. Now we have random values in each cell. Friday has the maximum value and the chart reflects this. Now I hit F9 on the keyboard. If you are not inside a formula, Excel will recalculate all cells. Result seems correct. Now I'm hitting F9 to test the chart with different random values. Nice. Let me close this format shape panel. It seems that our chart title has lost in the process. Let's click on the chart. Click on this Chart Elements button and check Chart Title. Let's select this default text, go to the formula bar, enter an equal sign, and click on this header cell B1. Hit Enter. Good. Now our chart title has been linked to the column header. What do you think? Is this chart better than the default one? Now you can save your work by clicking on the Save button. You can see the shortcut key as well, Ctrl+S. Or you can hit F12 to call the Save As dialog window. Let me save this file quickly. You can download it from resources if you need it. Now let me show you an important setting in Excel. Let's go to File. At the bottom, click on Options. Excel Options window pops up. Click on Save. Now here you can see this save auto recover information every 5 minutes. Make sure you have this option checked. This can save you a lot of headaches in case of an unexpected power outage. I like to keep this setting as 5 minutes, so I won't lose more than 5 minutes work whatever happens. If you don't have privacy concerns, you may want to set a cloud service location for your auto recover file. Because keep in mind, your local storage can break at any time. It's a very rare situation, but if it happens and you don't have backups on other devices, you know what I mean. Hit OK. Now let's say that you'd like to change the color of this green secondary bar. Double-click on it to call the Format panel. Go to the Field tab. In the Series option, make sure that you select this Ghost Data Series max value. Why is it important? You can individually format each bar on the chart. As we have only one from the green, we cannot see on the chart if the whole series is selected or just the one for Sunday. Choosing the series from the Series Options drop-down is the safest solution. Now let's click on the Color drop-down. Hit More Colors, and I choose this light purple. Hit OK. I'm hitting F9 to recalculate and test the new color. Alright. Let me show you one more thing before the end of this lecture. We can hide our Ghost Data Series by clicking on column C, right-click, and choose Hide. Wait a minute. Our highlighted bar has disappeared. Actually, we need to make a setting to bring it back. Right-click on the chart somewhere here. Click on Select Data. The Select Data Source dialog pops up. We will work on this later, but now we just need to click on this button, Hidden and Empty Cells. We need this last option. Check it. And hit OK. Hit OK again. And we are good. Our chart works like a charm. How can you unhide a hidden column? Select the columns on both sides, right-click and unhide. Alright, we have completed this lecture. If you are a beginner, I know there were so many new things to remember. I hope you managed to follow along and you liked the result. It took some time to prepare this chart now, but it's really just a few minutes extra work if you already know the drill. We are at the beginning. I plan to show you more cool things that are possible in Excel. Udemy will probably ask you to rate this course and leave a review soon. Your honest and constructive feedback would help me a lot. I'd appreciate that. If you need more time, that's okay too. I hope you will enjoy this course more and more as we are diving into Excel. See you in the next video.